Hi, my name is Newell Davis with World Composting, and today we're going to do an update on our pine shaving bin. Now, this bin has been doing really well. We kind of had a lot of food buried in the middle to start with. They finally started digging into it, and then we kind of shifted it off to the side to see if they'll go there. We're going to check it out and see how they're doing and see if they're working with this food. I also noticed that this bin last time was getting a little bit damp, and we did add some of the BTI with water mixed to it, so I might need to leave the bags off and let it dry out a little bit, especially with the mites that have been showing up. I know that they tend to like, I found moist environments. And if you dry it out, they tend to start wandering around and leaving. So we're going to check it out, see how it's doing moisture-wise, really dig it up to down to the bottom, make sure there's not a sitting layer of water in it or anything like that. And we're probably going to add some more food. Again, frozen food to make sure we don't introduce any fruit flies or anything like that. But it's time to keep this bin moving along. And my last update was on the 17th, so it's been 12 days. And, you know, it's a little shorter than my 2-week time period, but I think it really needs an update now to make sure that it's not getting too moist, as it looks like there's a lot of moisture when I checked the bags last time. So let's go and take a look. All right, so here's the system here. I've got my little label here saying 317. I'll put a new one on here after this video. And let's go and take a look and see how this is doing. So again, you know, there's a little bit of buildup on the bags. I'm just going to throw these off to the side here. Quite a bit of, well, hold on, take these off one at a time maybe here. Let's take off this one next. Quite a bit of stuff stuck to it. You can definitely see some mites moving around on here. So, you know, they're still there, but that's not a big deal. I mean, they're predatory, but I've not had any issues with these type of mites before. I've had red mites in my bins in the past. So there we go. Now, let's dig in here and take a look and see how these are doing. Now, just as a reminder, while I'm doing this, you can get any of the products that I typically have that I show in these videos actually on the Amazon links I have down below. So if you're looking to purchase any of these systems I show, you can just go down or look and see what's available. And that helps me out when you click those affiliate links. So now, looking at this, I'm not seeing any food here in the center, which isn't surprising. I don't think I fed the center last time, but you can see it's really starting to, this material is starting to break down. And with that, you know, the worms are starting to maneuver around. Actually, there's one right here on my glove back here. They're starting to maneuver around in here, and they're going to find the food. Now, I can't remember exactly where I fed, as I've moved this bin around a couple times, but I'm going to guess now with this amount of worms over here, it's on this side. Now, I do want to mention, with this material, one of the things that's very hard to do is I cannot see cocoons at all. The cocoons are almost the same color as this material, and there's a lot of worms over here. So this has got to be where the last feeding was, and you can really see them start to move around in here. So the last feeding was on this side, and it looks like there's still some food left over there, but not a whole lot. Looks like there was still some coffee grounds. Let's just dig into this corner here. Material looks pretty good. It actually doesn't look too wet, really. I mean, there's a little bit of moisture, but it's not bad. But you can tell this is actually a chunk of food with just some of the shavings on it. But the worms are working at it pretty well. So I'm going to dig that back down underneath here. Make sure we cover that up really well. Now let's just go check out this other side, see if there's anything over here. Now here's where you can kind of see the moisture build up. You can see it's really wet over here, kind of dries up, and it's a little drier at top. There's still actually some moisture on the top now, but this is still getting maybe a little bit too moist for what its own good. Let's just dig down to the bottom here. Sorry about moving it. I probably should put a towel in here to hold it down a little better. You can tell this bottom it's wet, but there's no water buildup, and that's a good sign. I don't really want to see water buildup. That's usually means that it's getting anaerobic here at the bottom, and you're going to have issues. But I'm going to kind of turn this a little bit. I've got a mite crawling on my hand. Turn this over a little bit here and try to get some of the drier bedding maybe down to the bottom. So we're going to just move this over. There's some worms over here in this corner too. I don't know if there's some food over there or something like that, but there were some worms that were over there. And we're going to do a feeding on this edge right here. So we're going to do a feeding at the bottom. I'm going to grab, sorry about my dog barking there, a handful of stuff to put in here. We're not going to try to load it up, but we're going to put in quite a bit. There we go. I think that's a good amount. We're going to put on, again, I'm not trying to add too much. I'm not trying to overfeed them, but we're going to add in now some of our crushed crab and eggshell. because that's their grit that they use to dig up this material. And again, you can watch a video on how to make this linked up top. And now we're going to cover this up. We want to make sure you always cover it really well, because I've had the issues with bugs. I want to make sure that everything is covered. Now, as I said, I think I'm going to leave the bags off this for a little bit, you know, just because it's sort of been, I'm going to just pile this up a little bit more on this side. It's been kind of wet in here, and I can tell that it's still damp, and I actually do want to add some more of this BTI mixture I've been adding. So I'm going to take off my glove here, put it to the side, and I'm going to pour in some more of this BTI mixture. So this is water that has been soaked with my mosquito dunks right here, just so you can see these things right here. I have one of these sitting in a bucket, and that's what I'm using. I grab water out of the bucket in one of these containers, and then I just kind of pour it in all over. And this is a lot of water for this bin, but that's where I'm going to leave the top off. I'm going to make sure that it's really by the food source. And this has a microbe in it, or bacteria that eats larvae that bugs put off. So the fungus gnat should easily be dissipated by this. And that's my update for this week. We'll probably come back in another, week to 14 days, week to 2 weeks, I guess I should say. That's about the time that I do these updates, and we'll see how it's going then. So thank you for watching.